All right, guys. I asked you if you had any fitness questions. You gave me some good questions. We're going to go over it today. Now, I didn't write a script for this. I'm not going to edit it. It's raw, uncut footage. So we're just going to get into it with our first question from Matt, who asks, "What's your split and how many sets per group?" All right. Here we go, Matt. So the split is very simple. It's a bro split. So we're going to have a leg day, a pull day, which is a back day, a shoulder day, rest, hams, and then chest. So this was what was originally prescribed to me by my coach. Since then, things have changed with me a little bit. So I still do the same order where it's legs, back, shoulders, hams, chest. But now I move this rest day up because I find that I am wiped after hitting legs and back, that this shoulder day is just diminished. So what I'll do is I'll have legs, pull, rest, and I'll actually do shoulders. I'll take the arms from the back day here and I tack them on the shoulders because I find that at the end of my pull day, my biceps have been just used so much from doing all this back movement that they're just fried, and I don't feel like I'm getting as good of a stimulus, as good of a pump as when I incorporate it on my shoulder day. And then the last 2 days are going to be ham and chest, and it's very basic, right? It's a bro split. Now what we're doing here is, this might look complicated, but it's very simple. So we'll take the leg day as a prime example, and this is kind of how all the days are set up. So you have two main movements, right? For the leg day, it's barbell squat. I actually do Smith machine squat, and I do hack squats instead of leg press. These are all changes that I was like, hey, I feel it better when I do this, so we do that instead. What you do here is you warm up, right? That's what the primer sets are. And your first set is going to be your heaviest set, and you're shooting anywhere in the 8 to 12 rep range. So what you're trying to do is, let's say week 1, you come in and you can squat 405, right? And you do it for 8 reps. You don't move the weight up. Next week, you come back in, you do 405, you get it for 10 reps. Don't move the weight up. The next week, you come in 405, you get it for 12 reps. Now, next week, you bump the weight up 5, 10 pounds, whatever you think is reasonable. And the same thing with the second set, the same ideology applies, except you're just doing it in a higher rep range. So 12 to 16 reps. And you're always looking for failure in that rep range. Now, what we don't want to do is we don't want to pick a weight where, let's say we do 405, we get it for 12, and then we only bump it down 10 pounds, and on our second set, we only get 12 reps. That's not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is we're trying to match where that failure is inside that rep range. So if I only get 8 on the first one, I'm probably looking for around 12 on the second one. Sometimes it happens more, but you just don't want them to be the same rep range, right? We wouldn't want to do a 12 and 12. And then same thing goes for the leg press. It's the same setup, same ideology. Now for the rest of them, it's kind of like pump work. You're doing a little less intense, still very intense, but we're doing 3 sets, 12 to 16 reps, again, looking for failure. And the same thing applies here, where you're trying to use a weight where you fail, you get to that end rep range, you up the weight a little bit, you keep track. And then same thing applies for back, same thing applies for shoulders, hams, chest. So you're looking at around probably like 8 to 10 working sets per muscle group per week, which, some people might say that's a little low, but I like it. It seems to be working pretty well for me. So that's what I'm going to keep doing for the meantime. All right, so I hope that answered your question about what my training split is and what my rep ranges are. If you have more, drop them below. All right, on to the next thing. How much protein per sitting is actually absorbed and used by the body? All right, so I don't actually know. I've always heard that it's anywhere between 30 and 50 grams of protein. Some people will say you can consume more. Some people will say less. Some people say it's dependent on your nutrition status. Are you cutting? Are you in a calorie deficit? Maybe you can absorb more. Are you bulking? Maybe you can absorb less. But we got a trusty friend up here. How much protein can you absorb at a time? Oh, it's autofilled. Between 20 to 25 grams, according to Naked Nutrition. All right, let's see where they're basing their information off of. blah, 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 it's 2,000 calorie diet. Okay. No, I'm not seeing any specific information. Oh, here we go. It's highlighted. Duh. So although further research on this is still warranted, studies suggest there's likely a limited amount of protein that can be utilized during muscle proteins. What is this study? All right. I don't understand any of these words. What the hell is a hepatic portal circulation? See, this is why I try not to get too in depth about what I'm looking at and try not to do too much research, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't think I'm fully equipped to read and understand these studies to the point where I can actually make decisions. That I'm just going to go off of what my coach is telling me to do and what I think is normal. So I would think that anywhere between 30 to 50 grams of protein you can probably absorb. Now I'm gonna say it's probably dependent on a lot of factors, such as like how much do you weigh? Are you in a calorie deficit? Are you in a calorie surplus? How hard have you been training? All of those things are gonna play a factor in how much protein you can absorb per sitting. I don't think it makes sense to go above 50 per meal. That's just like a lot of protein at once. And we know that more meals spread out through the day is probably going to provide a better source of nutrition for your body. And you're also going to feel better. Like if you sit down and eat like 75 grams of protein, you're probably not going to feel good, right? So I didn't really answer your question. Kind of 20 to 50 grams of protein, anywhere in there. I wouldn't personally go over 50. But, if you do and you get results with that, do that. All right. Best exercises for chest. High or low isolation. From Poppy Dust. All right, Poppy. My opinion on the best exercises for the chest. It's not very controversial, but I think that if you aren't doing incline dumbbell press as your main exercise on chest, you're missing out on so much potential strength gains. Now, I'm assuming, I can't even spell dumbbell. I'm assuming that most of you are familiar with the dumbbell incline press. Maybe not. It looks something like this. This guy's freaking huge, freaking massive. So, that's the exercise that you want to be doing. In my opinion, I think it's going to target your high part of your chest and your low part of your chest. I don't really think that you can bias the upper or lower part of your chest, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. You might try, and there might be some sort of study out there saying that you can bias them, but I think that it's much easier just to work the muscle as a whole. And I think if you're not doing incline dumbbell press as your main, you're missing out on overall chest gains. Now, I also think you should probably be doing the Smith incline press. It's going to get you some wicked chest gains. Smith, and the beautiful thing about the Smith is I used to hate on the Smith, but what you can actually do is you can push a lot harder and a lot longer than you would be able to do with a traditional barbell. And you can get a couple more reps in. You can actually push that barbell against the Smith machine, so you can almost like use it as a way to take some weight off of yourself, so you're not just pushing by yourself. Maybe it's cheating, maybe it's not. I like it. It gives me a good pump. And then if your gym has one of these, an incline fly machine, use this. Dear God, use this. This is an insane freaking machine. I like the regular fly, but the contraction I get on this, A1. So my advice to you would be, don't think too much about, I'm trying to grow my upper chest, I'm trying to grow my lower chest, and just focus on growing your chest first. Then when you have, like a 48, 50-inch chest, you can worry about, I want to bias my upper clavicular head. But in the meantime, if you can't bench 225, I wouldn't be worried about this. And that's the other thing too. I would stay away from your bench press, just in general, because you're going to get a lot of shoulder activation on the regular flat bench press. And look, listen, I flat bench pressed for so long. I could bench press 335, right? And my chest, it wasn't tiny, but it was not the size it is right now. When I started doing incline dumbbells as my main chest movement, my chest got so much bigger. And all my shoulder issues went away magically. And that's because you use like a ton of your shoulders when you're doing the flat bench press. I digress. Focus on building your chest. Focus on an incline dumbbell movement as your main movement. That was what I would do. And that's what I think you should do. All right, next one. Do you use your body weight to calculate your calorie intake? Yes. You want to know why? Because you have something called there we go, I can't spell. Your basal metabolic rate is the amount of energy per unit of time that a person needs to keep their body functioning at rest. The more mass you have on you, especially the more lean mass, the more calories you're gonna need to function. We can actually use a BMR calculator to figure out exactly how many calories we need. All right, I'm a 23-year-old male. I am 6 feet tall, maybe, and I weigh 35 pounds. So my BMR, the amount I would need to eat to not lose anything and not gain anything, is basically 2,000 calories for me to stay the same, right? And now, if I'm actually like exercising and stuff, you can see that right here, it goes up. So if I exercise 4 to 5 times a week, like I do now, that would be, my BMR is 3,000 a day. So in order for me to not lose weight, I have to eat 3,000 calories a day, right? Because your body doesn't want you to have this. Anyways, that's how you calculate that. So yeah, definitely go check out a BMR calculator if you're trying to figure out how many calories you should be eating. That's like step one. Can you give examples of 200 grams of protein a day? I'm assuming you mean, I don't know if I said that loud enough. Can you give examples of 200 grams of protein a day? Asked by, I can't pronounce your name. I'm not going to try. Sure. So, let's think about this. 200 grams of protein a day. All right. Just doing this the way I would think about it. You got two protein shakes you're going to drink a day, 50 grams a piece. So that's 100 grams of protein right there. And then the rest you can get from eggs. You eat 5-6 eggs, that's another 40 grams of protein. You're at 140. And then you eat a chicken breast and you're at 200. See how easy that was? It was crazy easy, doing minimal work. Now, if you want to get less from protein shakes, you can, these right here, I got my snack ready. Each one of these has 20 grams of protein. You eat 2 of them, it's 40 grams of protein. You eat 4 of them, that's 80 grams of protein. It's extremely easy. Just look at foods and how much protein they have in them, and then just add it up and be like, yeah, I can eat that much protein a day. 200 grams of protein, when you think about it, just isn't that much protein, honestly. How to make cream of rice not taste like shit. No protein powder. I wouldn't add protein powder in cream of rice personally. That would just make it taste worse. It's going to work great. Also, another great thing that you could put in there, Barry, fucking goes hard. What do we got? Kind of related to the first one. Yeah, I don't think you're trying. If you haven't tried any of these, and if you're like trying to cut or whatever, they have this, which has like 0 calories and tastes the same. 0 sugar maple syrup. How many calories? I'm not doing that. Okay. Try. Put some fruit in it. Put some sugar in it. It's not hard. Sorry, Nate. All right, Devin. Examples of what breakfast should look like plus macros. I think breakfast is all about, I don't really think of meals as like, breakfast, lunch. Because if you eat 4 or 5 meals a day, like what is this, second lunch, second breakfast? That's not how I think about it. Usually how we think about it is what's your pre-workout meal and what's your post-workout meal, and then we structure everything else around that. So if you're working out first thing in the morning, you're going to want a breakfast that is more high carb. So we're going to type in high carb breakfast. What do we got here? Oatmeal. It's got some banana in there. I personally want to put the coconut. This is great, right? A bowl of oatmeal. Maybe you throw some protein powder in there. I do want some sort of protein source so we can fit that protein in, so we don't have to eat more later in the day. Maybe it's some eggs. Maybe it's some yogurt. I personally, if I'm eating a pre-workout meal, I like to keep it a little bit lighter on the protein side. Again, one of these. Where's my camera? Put this in your mouth and eat it. Breakfast. Oh, not enough? Here, have a second one. Have 2 of them. I'm so glad I have this prop. So yeah, oatmeal, fruit, a little bit of yogurt, perfect pre-workout breakfast meal. Now, if you're not going to eat later in the day, you don't work out until later in the day, maybe do more protein with your breakfast so you can, stay satiated longer and you can get more protein in earlier in the day. All right. I can't say your name because it's a slur word. Are there any side effects from training at a young age, 13 to 16? Around here, you got to be 16 plus. Now, gyms will say you have to be 16, but you can find ways to work around that. You just got to go work at a gym, and they'll let you in for free. Maybe you have a school gym or something like that. No, there are no downsides to working out at a young age, only upsides. You have the most testosterone you will ever have in your body. You are crazy. You can go stupid hard. You can eat whatever you want and make gains. It doesn't matter. Go and be athletic as possible, as young as possible. I started lifting weights when I was 12, just messing around doing bicep curls and stuff, not actually seriously lifting. And I think it helped tremendously because you just have so much more muscle maturity and time training than the other guys who started when they're maybe 17 or 18. If you start when you're 13, you got 5 years on these guys. You've already messed up so many times. You've messed up more than they ever will already. And you're fucking, 17 years old. I gotta stop swearing. There are no downsides to training young, only upsides. It's not going to make you shorter. It's going to make you live longer. It's going to make you more attractive. It's going to make you better at sports. Just work out. It doesn't matter what age you are. And if anyone tries to tell you that it's bad for you, they're probably fat, okay? They're probably out of shape. They're probably old, probably miserable. Don't listen to that person. Work out. And if you can't get a gym where you can work out at, run, calisthenics, anything you can do to get your heart rate up, maybe go into the woods with a hatchet and cut down a tree. Stuff like that. Just try to move your body as much as possible. All right. Christian asks, what's your Kegel routine? Now, this is probably a joke. And, I don't know. I might, hold on. Oop. Okay, hold on. Is this going to get me in trouble? No, it's not. There we go. I spelled wrong. Yeah. I'm not going to show this, but you can Google it. Kegel, Kegel. It's a type of movement where you contract your lower extremity and release. Now, have you ever felt like you need to pee? When you got to go to the bathroom and you hold it in? That's kind of what a Kegel feels like. It's supposed to have a lot of positive benefits. Now, I don't do them anymore, but to be completely frank, I did mess around with some Kegel optimization when I was in my younger years, and try it out. I'm not going to talk about the benefits here, but try it out. All right, on to the next one. Anton, opinion on squats. I seem to find them easier to do. On front squats. Opinion on front squats. I seem to find them easier to do rather than back squats. Yeah, brother. Front squats are great. I injured my back when I was in high school, And I found out that I could do front squats fine and it didn't hurt my back. So probably for 6 months, I just did front squats. And you start off doing like 135, you get to the end and you're pushing like 225 for reps on front squats, good form. Your quads are gonna blow up. People are gonna look at you like you're crazy. Very athletic movement, very explosive. If you're doing any sort of sports, the front squats kill. It's very good for your core, trains your upper back. It's a good full body movement. I would not use it from a bodybuilding perspective because I feel like it doesn't allow me to efficiently load my legs as much as a back squat does. But if you find them easier and more comfortable and you're not like a serious bodybuilder or whatever, knock them out. Do front squats all day. Now make sure you're doing them right because, I see a lot of people doing stuff incorrectly. So definitely check out some videos. I would check out, does he have any front squat videos? Yeah. Check out my boy Alan Thrall, my boy. It's not my boy. He's just like kind of a cool YouTuber. Check him out. He knows what he's talking about. He's got some great videos. I watched him a lot growing up. He was probably only one of like the few fitness YouTubers that I actually watched. So check out Alan Thrall for some like form introductory videos. All right, who do we got next? Can a 16-year-old aggressively cut from Mito? I did it, but I also put on a lot of muscle before I did it. So there's definitely a trade-off because at this point in time, you have the most testosterone you will ever have naturally in your body, and you have nothing to do except eat, sleep, do your homework, and train. That's all you have to do when you're 16. So this is really a key time for growing. I wouldn't worry too much about being super lean during this period. Definitely you don't want to get fat, but there's no reason to super aggressively cut and kind of hurt your body's natural testosterone production, take a couple months off of time that you could actually be growing. In my opinion, lean bulk until you're like 18. And then when you're 18, cut and you'll be so big, nobody will even know what to do. So that's my opinion on that. You can do it if you want to, but you're definitely sacrificing some growth potential. All right, Jake asks, how can I give myself a BJ? I've been trying with ab workouts. Look, I get the joke comments. It's very funny, but if you're gonna do it, try, right? Because anyone who was actually attempting to give themselves a BJ would know that an ab movement isn't gonna help you at all. An ab movement is for strengthening your core. Sit up, something like that. It's for strengthening your core. What we're talking about here is a flexibility issue. You should be looking at an entirely different set of movements. You should be looking into yoga, tantric yoga, contortionist. Go find a contortionist and be like, hey, how do you do what you do? So if you're gonna joke, at least think about it beforehand, Jake, okay? Jake? And maybe go check out some yoga. All right. Eriko asks, how often do you personally use protein powder? Now, I use protein powder twice a day. I do about 4 scoops a day. I'll do a shake after my workout and then a shake before I go to bed. I find it helpful to get extra protein in, get some extra calories in, but, you definitely don't want to make protein powder your main source of protein. It is a high quality source, but you want protein from real foods because you want to eat real foods, chicken, beef, fish, yogurt, things like that. But I would say around 4 scoops of protein powder per day is fine. Anything more than that, you're kind of being excessive. All right, Chris asked, trying to bring up chest and lats, any tips? I get questions about this a lot. Someone else asked it. Hey, I'm trying to bring up X body part. What should I do? The first thing you should do is track your progress. Because if you aren't, you're not going to be able to make any. I talk to people all the time who I'm like, hey, have you written down your weights and reps that you use at the gym? And they go, no, why would I do that? Why would I do that? No, I remember. No, you don't. I don't remember what I had for breakfast 2 days ago. I certainly don't remember what freaking weight and rep set I used on tricep extensions a week ago. I don't remember that. Oh, is it 165 or was it 160? 12, 13? If you wrote it down, you would know and you wouldn't have to sit there like an idiot. Progressive overload, right there. It's the idea that in order to get stronger, you have to progressively overload what you're doing. If you're not keeping track of the loads and reps you're doing, you don't know how to progressively overload. Or am I doing less? Am I doing more? I did a different machine last week. Now I'm doing this machine. Now I did that movement last week. Now I'm doing this movement. Stop. Get some help. You should be doing the same movement every week, trying to bump up either reps or weights. And if you're not tracking, that's what you need to do. Now, aside from that, chest, I talked about incorporate more incline movements. And then lats, I've personally had a lot of trouble bringing up my lats. I will say this. If you don't feel your lats while you do your back movements, you're probably not training back right. If you don't actually feel them like contracting, you don't feel them being sore afterwards, you probably didn't train your lat. Maybe you trained your traps, which is like your mid back as well. But I would focus on dropping the weight down and using weight where you can really feel your lat. Not your shoulders, not your scap, not your traps, but like down here, like here. You should feel it here, not on your back. You should feel it here. I mean, a little bit on your back as well, but I digress. All right. That was everything. That was all the questions we had. Definitely not a ton. Maybe could have done a couple more, but yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any more fitness questions, ask them below. All right, peace.